Welcome to NWA Powerrr Episode 13. Who's the third man, brother? I thought that was Hulk Hogan. I'm not gonna lie. The very first thing when I saw the title, I thought, Hulk Hogan's here? Of course it's not, but it made me think. I had to say it. That would have been interesting if Hulk Hogan has gone to NWA, which I know he can, because he's still affiliated to a certain extent with the WWE, because he just came back in a sense. I'm sure he wasn't going to be there, but, you know, anything's possible. Was this show good? Yes, it was. Look, I looked at Impact, which was not bad. Wasn't great, but not bad. Particularly that it was the go-home show. And I felt that they needed more shows before the go-home show for Hard to Kill this Sunday. They needed more, but that's all they had. Then I looked at AEW, which I was not comfortable with. It just seemed like they made decisions I didn't agree with. Now, I'm sure everybody else enjoyed it, but for me personally, I felt like AEW, I'm getting NWA and AEW mixed up, sorry. But when it comes to AEW, I felt they rushed stuff. What happened with Moxley didn't need to be rushed. What happened with Christopher Daniels did not need to be rushed. What was going on with Rio, what was going on with Stanlander, the Nightmare Collective just felt like it was rushed or it was lacking. That's how the show felt. Now look at NWA Powerrr Episode 13, and I really liked it. It wasn't the fact that it was heavily flashy. It wasn't. It wasn't that they weren't having enough wrestling matches in there. It wasn't too bad. The wrestling matches were damn good. It was that I got something more. I got a story or stories that I can at least say that I was interested in. Now, the opening of the show, when we had I'm going to say this, the Tim Storm story was interesting. Now, I'm saying it's a story instead of just an interview with Gillen, because it felt like a story. He was not happy what happened with that match last week. He was not happy that Aldis did what he did, and he knew everybody was very upset about it, and they called him a coward. Understandable. It was well done. I gotta say, the crowd here was active. And I gotta say, this is the best crowd they ever had at this venue. It just felt good. And then Camille comes out, takes the mic from Gillum, and then sticks it into Tim Storm's face, which was good. He's saying exactly how he felt about all this. He's saying, well, you don't want to say nothing, fine. But if you did say something, I would ask you, so what do you think about what happened with all this? Smacked him in the face, and you see this in my face. I was able to catch it. She smacked him quick. Then she walks away, which you wonder what the hell is going on. Why does Camille go off and do these types of things? Wouldn't it be nice if Lavender, her man in real life, came out with her and says, listen, my woman's going to do whatever the bloody hell she wants, so get out of her face. That would have been nice. Now, we had our first match of the night, and that is Ziggy Dice versus Kaleb Connelly. It wasn't one of the greatest matches I've seen Connelly in, but it wasn't bad. Now, beforehand, they did do the drawing for next week, and now both Dawsons are going up against each other, and Murdoch, I can't remember the person he's going up against, but Murdoch made it very clear, I don't care who it is, I'm going to beat him. He didn't really say that I am so invigorated because I got a contract, because I was giving up on doing wrestling now because I was retired, but I'm back, and I love this. He didn't say it, but that's what he's been implying for months now, and that's how I feel about it, which I'm fine about. I know not many people like Murdoch. I do like Trevor Murdoch in the sense that he's an old veteran, that he's going to put some people over, he's going to screw some people, and he's established in NWA. He's been there for quite a while, so I'm okay with him being there. Now, Connelly did not win, and Ziggy Dice did. The boy is unique. Got enough tats on him to be able to fill up an ink wad. It's just, he is just unique. Doesn't mean he's great, but he is character and his persona is unique. He thinks he's the hot shit, looking like Ric Flair with the blondish hair. But he ain't. He never will be. Especially with those tats on his ass. So that's what he is. And he's not that bad. I mean, he's not great either. Now, the best match of the night, where the crowd went ape shit for, and that is ODB versus Thunder Rosa. And you got, I don't know why Allison Kay was there. They could have left her out. Honestly, I think they could have left her out. She wasn't really contributing a lot in commentary, but it wasn't that bad. And I gotta say this, I love Stu Bennett in that position. For me personally, I like him. But I gotta be admitting, John Gillen, I don't think he belongs there. They need another blow-by-blow commentator like the Pope. I think the Pope would be better there than anywhere else because the Pope was just great on commentary. I don't know if he would have great chemistry with Stu Bennett. I just feel like the Pope should be there. And you could take Gillum out. That's just me. But the match was so smash mouth. The crowd just went nuts. I think at one point, I think legitimately ODB kind of had a little bit of attitude legitimately with Thunder Rosa. And they're kind of very similar to one another. ODB went to MMA many, many years ago. Thunder Rosa has done MMA. ODB has been well known around the world, and I'm sure Thunder Rosa as well. They kind of clash. So that made a very good dynamic in this match. And I love this match. This match was beautiful. In the end, it was ODB who lost. And I'm alright with that. And then hearing Allison Kay say, I'm waiting for you, I'm coming for you. If she was going to be in this situation, she should have got up and walked over to the ring and just stared at her ass. And I think that would have been better than her sitting at commentary. That's the reason why I didn't feel like she should have been at commentary in the first place. If she got an attitude, she should already have gotten up when the match was over, walked right over to her and just face to face when put the belt in her damn face. I think that would have been a much more wiser thing to do. That's just for me. Alright. We have the interview as well as the match. Second match of the night that I did like. Starks versus Aldis. And I gotta say this about the interview. The interview was good. And he's saying clearly this is going to be an exhibition match. And it's going to be for 6 minutes and 5 seconds to show you that if I wanted to, I could beat anybody in a week. And then you have this match, which was a good match. I did enjoy the match. I didn't have a problem with it. It went to a draw. And then Ricky Morton comes out of the Rock and Roll Express and he says, give this kid 5 more minutes. Ricky Starks wanted 5 more minutes. He was fuming mad that he was put into the Texas Cloverleaf. He did not tap out. He could not get out of it. But the time ran out. He just wanted to chop at the bits to get back into the ring. Well, he was in the ring, but you know what I mean. He wanted to get back in that match, and pretty much Aldis said no. And the crowd just booed his ass. And just like in the interview, he was getting booed beautifully. This is how a heel's supposed to act in the business. He does something weeks or months already. He's pissed off the crowd already enough that they're booing his ass. Even in a small venue that they were in, you could hear the booing being so loud and very pronounced. It was good. Then this situation where Morton's saying, let the kid have another shot. Still booing. And then when he said, hey, give me 5 minutes. If you're not going to let this kid do it, then let me. And he still says no, and the crowd even hates him even more. Beautiful. This is how you do it. Now, the segment I love the most. Shooter Stevens. Now, I didn't use it before because I'm not going to lie, I do love Aaron Stevens. But I wasn't sure how far they're going to go with the question mark in him. And they've gone pretty far. With this interview, I just loved it. He said, I I had been taught by the greatest master, but I had to teach him what it means to be Americanized. He didn't say it like that, but that's how it was going. And I had to make sure he understood what he can have. And he has taught me how to be not... Before I was very giving. Now I want. And I want all titles. And we're going to win all the titles. The question mark is going... My teacher, my master is going to win the TV title. Then we're going after both of the world titles, tag team. And then finally, when I feel I'm ready, I'm going after the world championship. So much delusion of grandeur. You can see a mirage behind his head glowing with a sexy girl saying, hey, come over here, Aaron. I'll make sure you're rich. And winks and kisses at him. That's how far he was going. It was really a good segment. I did enjoy it. It was simple, direct, straightforward. It was about karate. I'm sure after they do their camera work, that guy's got to be laughing his ass off saying, I can't believe I keep saying karate. It's done well. I like it. It makes me laugh. And that's the purpose of it. Now, Eli Drake and James Storm versus Wildcards versus Anderson and Copacabana. Now I'm really getting to really like Copacabana. His ring style is not one of the greatest, but it is unique. Seeing him do the Superman flying, it's in my face. That's at the end of the match. It really made me laugh. I don't usually see someone do a Superman fly and tie up the legs like that. It's really different for me personally. But here's the thing. Wildcard did not come out. So it was just a regular tag match. Eli didn't trust Copacabana, but he wasn't totally against him. They did a fist pump and then they had a good match. But here's the thing when things get very... Well, two things have become very interesting. The first one, you guys tell me below. Is it my imagination or is Mr. Anderson getting an extremely big gut? Now, I do know that Mr. Anderson... Sorry for the kids. The families right now, they're being noisy. Understandable, they got kids. I don't blame them for nothing. But I remember that I found out that Mr. Anderson, he did do an entire segment on Impact saying that he used to smoke and he stopped smoking, and it looks like it's showing unless he's not really taking care of himself in real life. I mean, it's obvious. He's got a gut, a big gut. And I got a gut because I can't exercise. In his case, he really looks like he's got a gut. Now, it could be meaning of three things. One, because he isn't smoking it anymore and he's just gaining weight. Two, he's got some type of abdomen problem like Conan did. And it's beginning to show. And three, he's just getting freaking old. And he's slowing down. Which would make no sense. He's way younger than me. I'm nearly 50, guys. I'm not super skinny and I'm not super fat. I'm somewhere in between around 180 something. So I'm understandable going to have a gut. A messed up leg, you can't exercise right, and I'm nearly 50. That's prone for being chubby. But in his case, and he's like in his late 30s, I'm kind of surprised he got such a big gut. I know I'm going too far with this, but the reason that I'm doing this is like, it goes along with the character because he just can't control himself. Because by the end of that match, after he takes out Storm and the Superman flying capture of Eli Drake's legs goes on, Eli kicks out, and then you got Anderson grabbing the ref by the neck, and the ref DQs the match. End. And Copacabana's mad. Eli Drake is like, what the hell happened? Storm's leg is hurt, and Anderson's just pissed. So I'm wondering how long it may be before Anderson turns on Colt and attacks him, and Colt goes over to Eli as well as James Storm. And it kind of makes me wonder, will Strictly Business take on a new member, not just the one that came into the show, but one that's already there in an Anderson who looks like he might be turning heel? I could be wrong. You guys tell me below. Final piece of the puzzle. You got Strictly Business coming out, and you got the Rock and Roll Express was asked to come out by Aldis. Excuse me. Aldis said, look, we need to handle this. We need to do some fisticuffs. Let's do this. 6-man tag. Ricky's team versus my team. If your team wins, you get a shot at my Charlotte. Well, I know that's not the name. I'm calling it Charlotte. My precious. My 10 pounds of gold. I will call it Charlotte. That's a good name. But he's saying the 10 pounds of gold, this is it. And Ricky's already, let's do it. And he says, no, we're not finished yet. We're not going to be in this. Me and you. I'm going to get Wildcard and somebody else. You got to figure out who you want. Rob, your partner's going to be there. I'm sure you're going to get 2 other people. But in the end, this is how it's going to go down. And I got myself a brother who's going to be coming out. And I thought it was Hulk Hogan. And then you got Big Papa Pump coming out, which Rick and Rob just flipped out and walked away. And look, Big Papa Pump is always entertaining. He's not great in the ring that much anymore. He tries. Don't get me wrong. The guy just can't go like he used to, but he's so damn entertaining on the mic. And if you're going to talk about how his ring work is, if you got, for someone of his age, he's over 53, 54 years old, I believe. He's still younger than the Rock and Roll Express. Comparing to them, I'm not trying to put the guy down. Out of 100% of being really healthy and young, and someone who's nearing 50, being about maybe 60% of who they once were, I would say he's maybe just slightly under that, around 50%. So here's 100%. Here is 50%. Most guys at his age are about here. This is 100, young. This is where some people around 60. I think the Rock and Roll Express around 60%. He's maybe about 50 almost. Somewhere between 50 and 60. He's not really great, but he's not bad. He still gets tanked, but he still has enough strength to get stuff done. He can still go off the top turnbuckle somewhat alright, depending on the day. But I will give him that. But I would have thought it would be somebody else than Big Papa Pump. Now, if they brought him in for talking, perfect. Brought him in just for a short stint, maybe this 1 or 2 episodes of NWA Powerrr coming in episode 14 and 15, that's cool. But if he's staying there for a while, I hope they don't put him in the ring often, just let him talk. Now, was this a good show? Yes, it was. They do put on very good shows. We had how many matches? We had 1, 2, 3, 4 matches, which is alright for an hour show. No problem. We had a lot of good content in the middle of it, which made it work well. And almost forgot the Rock and Roll Hotline. That was funny. Seeing that Rick and Rob were there trying to give advice to people. Just call up, I forgot what it was, 1-800 Rock and Roll, I'm not sure, or Rock and Roll Express. It was funny, even though it was brief, and I'm sure it was corny to other people, but it was so funny. This is how wrestling has to be. It can be serious, it can be comedic, but it gotta be fun. And admittedly, on WWE, I'm not getting fun. On Impact, I'm getting something, but it's like, look what's going on. Hard to Kill is coming this Sunday, and the problem I see is that they had no time to build for it. Just 1 episode. Instead of the last 2 episodes that could have been dedicated to it, it was pretty much the best of. And I feel like there was a waste. AEW just seemed to be a big miss for me personally because it was rushed. Moxley was rushed. Chris McDaniels felt rushed. When it came to, I don't even know what's going on with the women. It just feels rushed for me personally. But seeing this, it's not that it's rushed, it's just fun. But this is my point of view. Have a good day, have a good night. Peace!